Welcome to the channel, guys. We are back again, and today we're going to be talking about my top 5 oud fragrances because it is Oudvember, so this is the perfect time to do this video. So stay tuned for that. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. So it is, as I mentioned, Oudvember. The month is almost over, but I really wanted to do this video because I have been meaning to talk about oud fragrances for a while. Oud is one of those fragrances, or those fragrance notes that can be very polarizing because in its purest form, it can be very skanky and animalic. But ultimately, I think it has a bad reputation that if you look at a lot of the popular fragrances with oud, and a lot of the well-established fragrances with oud, it's really not warranted. It can be such a beautiful note with a lot of depth and a lot of character. So with that, let's get into the list. The first fragrance is Fragrance du Bois Oud Noir Intense. Now, I'd heard a lot about this house from the Luxury Fragrance Boss, one I really wanted to check out. It's very interesting because they use sustainable, renewable oud resources to make all of their fragrances, so that's a nice touch. This fragrance is actually quite nice. Now, a lot of people, I looked it up, do compare this one to Oud Wood, the comparison of which I don't quite get. It does certainly have some spiciness, and in the opening, I would say that is when it's most similar to Oud Wood by Tom Ford. But it does smell distinctly different. It has a lot of other notes. It has a rose in there, and especially in the dry down, I get a lot more of those florals, a lot more of that rose, and it does have that kind of classic combination. The oud here is definitely enough to make you know that it's oud. It's very nicely woody, but it's in no sense pungent. It doesn't really have any of those characteristics people think negatively about oud. It does even actually at times have a bit of a sweetness, and I think that comes primarily from the florals in this fragrance. They might add a sweet dimension. But to me, it's definitely very different than Oud Wood. Now, it does, like I said, have also cardamom and oud, which Oud Wood has. So, that being said, this is a nice fragrance, very well blended, very smooth, high quality, lasts a long, long time. The biggest problem with this one is the price point, and this is one of those ones I would have a very hard time justifying. I think this one floats around $500 for a 50 ml, I think it's 50 ml bottle, which is outrageous. That is a lot of money to drop on a fragrance. That being said, it is an enjoyable fragrance. It's also very nice. So I will place that one at top 5 in the 5th position. In the 4th position, I actually have 2 fragrances, both from the same house, and I actually didn't want to have more than one fragrance on this list from the same house, and this is why I've decided to do a tie for 4th place with Dior. So the tie is between Purple Oud by Dior and Leather Oud by Dior. And honestly, I think this is a really, really great combo. Obviously, probably not to wear together, but I really, really like these two because this highlights, I suppose, the two sides of the coin of oud. Purple oud is a very nice, wearable oud. It's well blended, it's smooth, it's not too complex, yet it's enjoyable. It has just enough pungentness so that you know that it's oud, but this is very wearable and very classy. Leather oud, on the other hand, takes a certain kind of person to wear it. Now, I love this fragrance, but this one is definitely more challenging. This one is exactly what you think about when you think about oud. It can be very skanky, it can be animalic, there can be a little bit of a fecal note in there. This one is oud to the max. So this is, if you want that experience, if you want to see what everybody means when they talk about skanky oud, animalic oud, leather oud. And especially the 2010, I will say, is a lot more intense in that respect. They did reformulate it in 2018. I think it toned it down a little bit, but it still has a lot of those qualities there. It still has a lot of that animalic, skanky oudiness there. So I think if you really want to see why some people shy away from oud, leather oud. It's one of those fragrances you need to be very confident to wear, very masculine, manly fragrance, but believe it or not, I've had some good reactions with this one, which I was not expecting. But if you want something from Dior that's a nice oud, definitely can tell that it has oud in it, and is much more wearable. Purple oud. Really like that. There's an orange note in there that adds a really nice fresh dimension. It's actually a really well composed fragrance. That is my number 4 spot. My number 4 spot goes to Oudmazing by Montal. This is one I tried recently, and this is one I'm definitely going to be getting a bottle of because it's really, really well done. And as with all Montal fragrances, if you look around, you can find a very, very good price on this, and you can get a niche quality fragrance for definitely under $60 or $70 for 50 ml. Now this one is really nice because it opens up with a beautiful fig note. So if you do like fig, this is one you definitely want to try. Very nice, fruity, fresh, juicy fig combined with berries. I think it's grapes or something like that. Works really well. I get mostly fig, but it does come across as a bit of a fruit salad, but in a very, very nice way. So it opens up very nicely. Now, after that, what you get is the oudiness, and it is a wonderful, wonderful oud. I really like how the woodiness comes out in the dry down. Definitely makes you aware that it's oud, but it's not overly pungent. It's just a very distinct woody flavor that to me says, hey, this is oud. So it is a very, very wearable oud, a very interesting, bright fig opening that is very enjoyable as well. So that is my number 3 spot. For number 2, I would have a hard time not mentioning Blackmail by Kerosene. I really love this one because I will say one of the things that's very popular with oud is an oud and rose combo, and that certainly can be a very beautiful combo, but I also find it's one that's quite overdone. So I feel like it's a lot harder to have a standout oud and rose fragrance. Not that it can't still be done, but it's very hard to be something special. This fragrance is completely different. So it has this beautiful incense, making it a very, very smoky fragrance. It has a nice wearable oud in this one. Reminds me more of like the oud in Oud Wood. For example, it's not pungent, it's not really skanky, it's not even slightly animalic, it's definitely not leathery, but it is a very nice woody fragrance. And to balance out that very, very smoky, woody accord, that also comes off a little bit like it has burning embers as well at times. But to balance that out, it also has a nice fruitiness too. So there are some fruits in this one, adds a nice sweet dimension to it, and I really, really like it. So it has a lot going on, and it's unique in the sense that it's a very nice, appealing incense and oud combo, which I really, really do enjoy. And this one is fantastic. My number 2 spot, Blackmail by Kerosene. My number 1 spot, I want to thank one of my subscribers for sending me this, a package of oud fragrances, and this was one of the fragrances that he sent me. I'd actually never heard of this fragrance house. They're called OK Fine, and they are a niche fragrance house with some very nice original fragrances, and this one is a smoky oud bourbon fragrance. And I have to say, it's amazing. I love the booziness in the opening, very, very boozy. And that booziness does certainly maintain for quite a while, although I will say it's very, very, very prominent in the first 30 minutes. It's, to my nose, predominantly a boozy fragrance. But this has also this really beautiful oud that is a little bit pungent, a little bit of a kick in the face, but it's not animalic, it's not leathery. It's definitely just enough so that you know that it's oud. It works really well. So you get this nice boozy opening, little bit smoky, with this nice woody, smoky cask and oud combo that works really, really well. I'm probably going to pick up my own bottle. This one, as you can see, not much left, but this is a very enjoyable fragrance. If you do like oud and you do like bourbon, should check this out. I think this is a house that is not getting talked about enough. If the other fragrances they have available are as good as this one, they are amazing. So I really do want to check out a little bit more from them, but all in all, very amazing fragrance. So anyways, guys, that is my top 5 oud fragrances. What's your top 5? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you guys.